Normal work wasn't working. I mean, we spend 50 years of our lives at work, and that's more time than we spend with our families. Yet, but even before COVID, only 1 in 10 people were actually engaged in their jobs. And you think that is not okay. What this new hybrid model does is it gives us the opportunity to reset work in a way that works for everyone. If you want to create an empathic company, you have to create a culture of belonging. There's 3 key questions you need to ask your colleagues right now. Do you feel visible? Is your voice heard? And do you feel that you're not alone? Those are the 3 most important questions that we have to keep asking our colleagues, because in a hybrid model, we're going to have people at home, some people at work, and we cannot have an unequal workforce. We have to create a workforce where everybody feels included and everybody feels that they belong. There's 3 things you can do to bring more empathy into the way you lead. The first thing is look at how you run meetings. We often get the same people talking in a meeting. You need to make sure everybody has a voice. The second thing is emotional measurement. During your structured meetings, make sure you're using polling. Ask the 3 most important questions. Do people feel visible? Is their voice heard? And do they feel that they're not alone? So use collaborative software within your meetings to get a gauge of how people are feeling. And the final thing is think about your language. Use words that are not about business speak. Forget all these stakeholders, assets, leverage, all these very deep words that dehumanize us. We need to bring more empathy into language. The future of the hybrid model is a model where unempathic, unemotional leadership just doesn't exist. You know, we saw a few weeks ago where the CEO of a consulting firm, he told his employees to stop moaning about COVID and get on with it. He's been temporarily suspended. So unempathic leadership is not going to be accepted. I think the future of the hybrid model is a place where everybody has to feel that they belong. It doesn't matter whether you're at home, at work, what your schedules are, whether you've got kids or you're not, but we have to include everyone. And that means everyone's voice has to be heard. And I think the other thing about the future of work is it has to be a much more human place. We have to get to know each other on a much more human level. And with COVID, there has been an opportunity to do that, but we need to go deeper. We need to sustain empathy. Empathy is not about bringing your dog to the Zoom call. It's much more than that. It's about connecting on a human level. It's about taking action. Empathy is about empathy in action. It's not sympathy. And that's a really important point. We've had a global pandemic, but actually what we need to focus on now as leaders is a mental health pandemic. The emotional well-being of our people is what's really going to separate those good leaders to those great leaders. We are seeing fear and anxiety off the scale with our young people. Whilst we've seen empowerment go up, particularly at the beginning of the pandemic, we measured empowerment. We're actually seeing a lot of fear and anxiety, and a lot of young people, they're feeling isolated, they're feeling disconnected. And I think the mental health pandemic has to be our focus. And that is something that leaders have to prioritize alongside with productivity. In my role, I'm a bit like a company doctor, and I go into big companies and I look at the organizational structure and I look at the empathy deficits and empathy strengths of the organization. But everything is tied to the business outcome. You know, if people feel mentally good, if they feel happy, if they even have friends at work, having a friend at work, all of those 3 things improves productivity. So my work is around the business case for empathy. More empathic companies, they make more money. We ran a survey with the Harvard Business Review a few years ago. The top 10 companies outperformed the bottom 10 in terms of market cap, earnings, and growth. It doesn't matter which way you cut the numbers, but more empathic companies, they make more money. So the mental health pandemic is so crucial, and it's crucial because we have to do the right thing, but ultimately we have to see the person grow if the business is to grow, and those 2 are inextricably linked. Mental health is not the domain of the HR department. It's everybody's business.